The rift in Kaduna State over the high debt profile left by former Governor El-Rufai has generated considerable tension in the state. Supporters of El-Rufai and that of the current governor, Malam Obasani, have been at one another's throats, defending their principles and trying to win the hearts and minds of the people of the state. Governor Sani had said his administration is finding it difficult to pay workers' salaries in view of the large amount allocated to debt servicing on a monthly basis. According to Sani, El-Rufai left the state with a debt of $507 million, 85 billion naira, and 115 contractual liabilities. But in a swift reaction last Saturday, El-Rufai's son Bashir accused the governor of abandoning his official duties to aides and relocating to Abuja. Governor Sani described the attack by Bashir as a distraction. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress, APC, has suspended its women leader, Mariam Suleiman, for criticizing Governor Sani over this issue. For more on this, let's bring in Mukhtar Sirjao, who is immediate past president of Nigeria Institute of Public Relations and one-time chief press secretary to the former governor of Kaduna State, Ahmed Makarfi. So you're welcome, Mr. Sirjao. How are you doing this evening? Thanks for joining us.
I am as okay as any Nigerian can be in these days.
Okay, you're as happy as any Nigerian can be in this state. Can you explain that?
I said I am as okay as any Nigerian can be, as most Nigerians can be.
Right. Okay, that's good. Thanks for joining us once again. So your state, Kaduna, is in the eye of the storm, and there's been a lot. If it's not the kidnapping of school children, there's a tussle over how much is available for governance. And your governor has been talking about the high debt profile. You are on ground. Can you share with us the general feeling of what is going on in the state or the current state of affairs?
Well, the current state of affairs is applicable to all states of the country. The country is in dire straits, and Kaduna State is not an exception. But this brouhaha about debt, I don't see any reason why people should be making a storm out of a teacup. I don't see anything wrong with the governor gathering the stakeholders to keep them up to date about his challenges, about what is going on in the state. I consider it as being proactive and a declaration of liabilities, if you like. In these challenging times, any governor who finds himself in this kind of dire straits, I think is better served by coming out clean with the people, telling them the platform upon which he's operating, the challenges that abound. So I don't consider it as Obasani criticizing Nasuru or anything of the sort. I consider it as a proactive act of governance and coming clean with the people. I think people are trying to create a mountain out of a molehill. The other flip side to it is that this statement that the governor made about inheriting about 570 or somewhere around $1 million debt left behind by Nasuru was the same statement that opposition figures made in the countdown to the election, which earned them the wrath of the former governor, deprivations here and there, including revocation of titles of lands of even former governors by Malam Nasiru. So I wonder what he is going to do with Uba now that he has come out to say the same thing, the exact same thing that the opposition figures had complained of before he left office. Right. And come to think of it, I believe the former governor is being served a dose of his own medicine, because this was somebody who, before he became governor, had abused the hell out of all the governors that preceded him for plunging the state into a cesspool of debt. And to think that all the debt that he was complaining about, including putting a figure of the indebtedness of the state on each citizen of the state. By the time he came, the debt that he inherited was some, according to the debt office, some $93 million, which one of the governors that he succeeded actually had a problem with, because from our sources, it was actually $83 million.
Yes. Okay.
Which he inherited, and he was all over himself complaining about how the state was plunged into this kind of indebtedness. And to think that the same person who made that complaint has now left the state with 574 million, which is about 600% of that 83 million, I think it beggars belief. And I think it is an episode that we should get out of as fast as possible. But let me repeat that the governor calling stakeholders to a meeting, telling them what challenges he is facing and his liabilities is in the best, if you like, an exhibition of proactive and good governance.
Okay, so let's, Mr. Sirjao.
Excuse me, one thing that the governor might not have told people, if my sources are correct, is that even on the eve of the departure of the former governor, a 20 billion naira loan was procured from Zenith Bank, mortgaging the entire IGR of the state. So, to all intents and purposes, now the state government, apart from the fact that it left those multi-million-dollar debts, the state government does not even have an IGR to fall back on.
Okay, thank you. Can I come in here, Mr. Sirjao?
Please, you ask me a question. Let me answer it appropriately.
We have time. We have time to talk. We have time to talk, and we have a lot of things to touch on. So don't worry.
Well, it is better
we'll come
to answer one question qualitatively rather than answering 10 questions without making sense.
Yes, don't worry. We have time. Don't worry. So let's go to the next question. Yes. So let's come to the substance of the argument here. We have some figures here. The actual figures are $587 million. 85 billion naira and 115 contractual liabilities. In view of this, Malam Sani says 7.5 billion naira has been deducted from Kaduna federal allocation for March, so leaving the state with 3 billion naira. And okay, I think we lost him. Okay, you're there. So leaving the state with 3 billion naira. And you have 5.2 billion monthly wage bill for Kaduna State. So should these numbers, should it worry citizens of Kaduna State?
Well, any right-thinking person should be worried. Because if you deduct 7 billion out of 10, which is 70%, and you have a wage bill of 5 billion, it means even the routine payment of monthly wage bill, the government is not able to do. So where does it have the funds to do more important and more fundamental programs of development? In fact, the mystery that I think the people of the state deserve an answer from the governor is that with these humongous deductions, how has he been able to be paying such past 9-10 months that he has been here? Because from the statistics we gather, for the next 4 or 5 years, the average monthly deduction for Kaduna State government on account of the debt that Nasiru left for the state with is going to be 5-6 billion naira every month.
Yes.
So how the governor is going to survive, how the governor is going to work for the people with this paucity of funds is something that really should be disconcerting and should be a source of worry for not only the people of Kaduna State, but for Nigerians wherever they are.
Oh, okay, so I mean, his opponents have said that he definitely needs to increase the internally generated revenue, but he also says that on a monthly basis, 800 million naira is already being deducted from the IGR account in order to pay contractors. Definitely, the governor is under immense pressure. Don't you think so?
No doubt about that. He's under immense pressure. and he needs to be smart, and the entire state needs to rally around him to see how we all can get out of this quagmire that we have been plunged into. It is not a question of politics. Political season is gone. This is time for governance. And if we don't all come together and see how we can get the state out of this quagmire, I think the story is going to be terrible. It's already terrible, but it may be more terrible. And this was what I was alluding to when I said a very huge percentage of even the IGR, which they touted for ad infinitum, that they had improved the IGR tremendously, that had been mortgaged at the altar of a loan that was procured just as the last government was at the departure lounge. So you don't understand some of these things actually.
But is the governor giving excuses because he asked for the job? He is on the job, and then he has to be creative and find ways to solve this problem. I think he already said that he was going to try to restructure the loan.
I think it will serve him better, it will serve him well, and it will serve the people of Kaduna State better if he stops whining and goes to work trying to look for solution to the problem. And this is where I appeal not only to him, but to the entire people of the state. Like I said, it is not about politics anymore. It is not about partisanship anymore. It is about the state. Some people, I don't know if it is being uncharitable, but the truth of the matter is that this date that we are into, this governor was very central in facilitating the procurement of the loan. But then you don't blame him for facilitating the procurement of the loan, because it is one thing to facilitate the procurement of the loan, and it is quite a different thing how that loan is deployed and how repayment is structured. But the governor asked for this job. Yes, we understand that he is working in a very, very challenging environment, financial and otherwise, social, political, economic, all sorts of challenges are there. But he believed he could do it. He believed that he could withstand the heat in the kitchen. So it is up to him to guard his loins, pull off his sleeves, and go to work. But the truth of the matter is that this governor inherited a very humongous liability that is capable of distracting any sane human being. But then it is not beyond looking for and finding solutions. And I believe solutions abound, even though they are not going to be easy to come by. And one of the things to do is to continue to engage the citizens of Kaduna State, just like he has started with this town hall meeting, to be regularly keeping the people abreast of what is going on, challenges and prospects. And one way or the other, some solutions are likely to come in.
Okay.
Because every administration that has preceded him has had its own kind of challenges. And if I will give him my Kobo's piece of advice is he has to really learn from some of his predecessors who were actually proactive in telling the people, coming out with figures for the people, this project cost this, at this rate, it has been given to this and that. But these past 8 years, none of the projects that were undertaken in Kaduna State has any cost to it. Nobody in Kaduna State can tell you that this is the cost of this or that project. And I think that is something that can no longer be acceptable by the people of the state. They have been beaten more than once, and now it's time for some action.
Well, Mr. Sirjao, you made a very good point when you mentioned that the current governor was part of negotiating or facilitating those loans. Some of them are World Bank loans. He used to work as an advisor to the former governor, Nasir El-Rufai, and he was also in the Senate. But that's not the issue. The issue is that the cost of the borrowing or debt services has gone very high because of the cost of dollars. So that's where the problem lies. So do you think?
No, I don't believe the cost of dollars has anything to do with it, because it is a percentage stuff. Whatever loan you took, there is a certain percentage that determines the servicing leverage of it. What I'm saying is, part of the thing that the governor needs to do is to reorder his priorities, actually. The appeal to the people of the state to understand the situation that he is in, and I believe he will not lack listening ears from the government. It is not yet election time. It is not yet partisanship time. Now it is time for governance. We all wish the governor success, because if he fails, we all fail. But he needs to reorder his priorities. For instance, in this crunch time, with all respect to him, I think building a 7 billion naira conference or banquet hall for Government House should not be his priority. But in any case, you don't get everything right all the time. But I believe he has started well by calling the people together to tell them what is on ground, so that probably to explain rationale for failure. And I think that is not good enough.
Okay, so this issue has degenerated to a war of words, a little bit murky. So the son of the former governor, Bashir El-Rufai, came swinging at Malam Obasani, and he accused him of sleeping most times or living literally in Abuja instead of Kaduna. Is this a fair assessment of Malam Obasani or the situation of things in Kaduna?
Well, I don't know if he abandons Kaduna for Abuja, because I don't track his movement. I know we have a Governor Obasani, and I know that whatever other political disagreements one may have with him is the fact that the statement he made at the town hall meeting is not a lie. So what I want we should not be chasing shadows. Let us address the issues that Governor Obasani raised at the town hall meeting. Was what he said not true? Did Nasir El-Rufai not leave a debt of close to $58 million when all he $580 million, when all he inherited and was making a lot of noise over was less than $90 million? If we establish the fact that what the governor said is true, then we should address the issue. The bit about him living in Abuja or living on the moon, I think is chasing shadows. Right.
So Bashir is not going scot-free anyway. The governor's people have also come after him, asking for his head. So for instance, there's a politician and activist by name Honorable Ibrahim Amadou. He literally blasted Bashir, and he called him. He said, what he's saying is unguarded, stupid, and that his vituperations are unacceptable to the people of Kaduna. What do you think about that?
That, I believe, is their internal affair, and I believe I'm not competent to delve into that.
Insulting one another just because of what? Because of politics, on the name of politics.
Well, they are the same family.
How are they the same family?
Yeah.
How are they the same family? Is this about family, or is it about focusing on government work, or what needs to be done?
No, I mean, it is the same political family fighting itself. So I said, I don't belong to the family, and I believe it is not my place to delve into that. I'm not competent to do that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, whether it is a family thing or not a family thing, the truth of the matter is that 580 million debt has been left for this current governor. And for God's sake, if he cries out loud over it, he should be understood.
Right. So let's go quickly. We have a few minutes left. Let's go quickly to Kaduna generally. I know that you used to work under the former governor, Ahmed McCarthy. And then during his time, there was largely peace in Kaduna State. But for the past, previous 8 years under Governor Nasir El-Rufai, Kaduna was the epicenter of violence and ethnic tensions, in northern Nigeria, political conflict. Because of the diversity, there seemed to have not been a balance. So I want to ask you, what did you do differently under Governor McCarthy that made the people feel like, there was a kind of peace and ease among different ethnic groups and people of different religions?
Well, what we did was that as soon as elections were over, we got into governance. And governance was blind to partisanship. Governance was blind to ethnicity. Governance was blind to religious differences. And Kaduna is such a complex state that you have to be very, very fair-minded to be able to steer the affairs of the state. So I wish you had asked somebody that will be seen to be more neutral this question because of where I am coming from. I mean, in any case, it was not only Magharibi that I worked under. I worked under 7 governors of Kaduna State. Yes, he was the last governor that I worked under. And the secret behind the relative peace and security that we enjoyed in Kaduna in the 8 years that he was governor was that he was a very, very fair-minded governor who believed that the entire state was his constituency. He didn't believe that simply because he was a Muslim and came from the northern part of the state, the other parts of the state did not matter in his calculations. No, he was one governor that, at the risk of being immodest, touched the lives of all the 23 local government areas of the state. I know I authored a number of publications while we were in government, during which we tried to come clean with the people. That was what I was alluding to when I was talking, and I believe that succeeding governors need to take a leaf from that so that people know where they stand with the government. There was no project that was done that the people were left in the dark as to how much it cost. And there was no local government under Magharibi, the 8 years that Magharibi was governor, that did not have one project of the government or the other. Unlike some other people who have made a lot of noise and concentrated development in Kaduna and some 4 urban local government areas. If you ask anybody under the leadership of Magharibi, any local government will point to a project that is continuously impacted positively on the lives of the people. Some other governors cannot boast of that. But to answer your question, the reason why there was relative peace and security under Magharibi was because Magharibi was fair-minded and he considered the entire state his constituency, and he tried to govern fairly, equitably, and justly.
Okay. So one last question before you go. Since the death of former governor, Mr. Patrick Yakowa, I mean, there used to be an agreement that the governor was a Muslim and the deputy governor a Christian. And then something happened to the governor. Patrick Yakowa became a governor, and then he died. Since that time, the arrangement has been changed. From Nasir El-Rufai, it's been a Muslim governor and a Muslim deputy governor. Do you first, and then under this current administration, it's the same thing, a Muslim governor, a Muslim deputy governor. Do you see this changing anytime soon? And do you think it should change in order to take into consideration the diversity of that state?
I'm one of those that believe primordial considerations should not come into governance. We should elect our leaders on the basis of what they can offer. And what faith you adhere, what God you worship, what ethnic background you belong to should not matter when we come to electing our people. In fact, that is part of the reason why we have the kind of mediocrity that we have been having. But I believe that all parts of the state must be given as of right a sense of belonging.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Mukhtar Sirjao, for that excellent interview. Mukhtar Sirjao is the immediate past president, Nigeria Institute of Public Relations, and former Chief Press Secretary to Governor Ahmed Makarfi in Kaduna State. Thank you so much for your time.
No, I was not his Chief Press Secretary. I was Director General here under him.
Okay. That's noted. Thank you very much, all the same.